welcome back everybody for episode 45 of Animus Absentis, and it's going to be a pretty good one. I'm excited. Before we jump in, though, I'm going to mention sponsors real quick, say a little bit about that, and then we'll let everybody introduce themselves and their characters, and then we'll find out what's going on with this trap that we've gotten ourselves into. Yes, 45 episodes. So sponsors, first one being Fundamental RPG. It's the system that this game runs on. The book looks like this. It's a simple D20 system that can run everything from high fantasy to sci-fi, obviously, and everything in between. You can pick up your own physical copy on Amazon, or if you prefer the digital version, which is a PDF, you can pick that up at coffee.com/raven/shop. Like it says in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, just add /shop to the end. You can also pick up character sheets there as well, which are free to download. Also at that same website, you can pick up Intrepid gear, which is adventuring gear for real life, casual, outdoor, and athletic attire, drinkware, accessories, a whole bunch of different things with an adventure or tabletop theme to them. Very cool stuff. And then finally, Die Hard dice, which are incredible dice. They're the best dice, really, that I've ever used. They sent me this amazing Spellbinder Fey Queen set, and it is my very favorite set, and I have a lot of dice, so that's saying something. You can pick up your own at dieharddice.com, and if you use the code BlackFeatherJune, all one word, capital B, capital J, you can get 10% off your whole order. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show, which has a lot of content, or any other show on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. Just go to the stream library and look for Blackfeather Guild, and that's where you can see all of our past content. All of that out of the way, we'll start with the top left with Jay. Tell us a little bit about Sparky and yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay, Aurelian Jays. I'm a game dev and a role player, and that's it. That's all I got. Twitter or itch.io at Alien Jays. Huzzah! I'm playing Sparky tonight, who is just as much of a basket case as I am currently, and currently they're probably losing their goddamn mind because we're in trap again, just after saving Captain from a debacle. And now, yeah, we seem to be in probably the worst kind of pickle we've ever been. So hopefully we have enough dill to get out of it.
I love that. All right, next we've got V. Tell us a little bit about Annie and yourself.
So we're starting today off with puns, are we? That's the avenue that we're taking.
It's going to be a very punishing episode.
Stop, no. That is a punishment that I do not want, thank you. Hi, I'm Vanessa. I am the third of the Canadian crew of our cast, after Jay being the first. I am a traditional artist as well as a digital one. I work in watercolor, pencil sketch, and digital art. And if you'd like to take a look at my work, you can certainly do so. I have an art Twitter, which is @PepperoDraws. That's Peppero like the candy. It's there under my little name card if you're looking for the spelling. Excuse me. But yeah, you can check out my stuff there. I play Annie, who is... One of these days I'll have like one thing to say about Annie. She's a handful, is what she is. A disaster. Now she has her memories, so now she's doubly disaster. She is the tallest member of the crew. She's got crazy pink hair that she always wears in space buns. I guess we kind of joke that before the memory wipe, and I guess now that she has her memories back, she was previously kind of like a space anonymous, a Robin Hood character, if you will, where instead of stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, she would steal from the rich and sell to the less rich. And that's how she made her living. And that usually involved stealing confidential information from large corporations and giving those to maybe some people who could benefit from knowing that information. She also has a little brother, Liam, who they saved on the way, and he's kicking it on the crew with the rest of us, which is proving not to be great, considering the situation we've gotten ourselves into. It's gonna be awesome. And yeah, that's Annie. She's trying to put her memories in order now that she has them back, and hopefully not spiral into a cheese can depression again. That was something, poor girl. Yeah, that's Annie.
I forgot about the spray cheese cans.
Great cheese can depression. Seattle has this entire crew hooked on cheese.
Yep.
The
Always
sad
comes
part
back
is
to
I don't even think
cheese.
she enjoyed it. Like, I think the spray cheese was just there and it was a comfort. So she was like, I guess.
Sort of a, am I hungry or just bored? Kind of a thing. Speaking of Seattle, Alex, tell us a little bit about Seattle and yourself.
Hello, I am the last of the Canadian crew. By our powers combined, we will Canadianize you,
And we're sorry.
but not really. Yeah, so I'm a digital artist. You can find me at CanChaosArt, where I post stuff and I try to open commissions now and then. I'm very bad at it. And I play Seattle, who is the ship's engineer, de facto dad, actual dad to only one crew member. That's about it.
All right. And then Goody, tell us a little bit about Captain and yourself.
Hi, I am Goody. I play Captain. Captain is an android, but she is a Black Ops murder droid. And she is kind of the de facto mom of the crew. Not a real mom to anyone on the crew, because that would be weird. But yeah, she is just trying to keep this bunch alive, and it's about going as well as you would expect it to.
It's fair. All right, that just leaves me. I am Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things that I do, most of which are tabletop related. My link tree is in chat, or if you can't see chat, it's linktr.ee/theraven, just like it's spelled below my face. And then I play everybody else in the galaxy, including a number of crew members, people on the ship, most of whom are essentially kids. There is the Doctor, or Jack. They are interesting. They're extremely antisocial and a little quirky, and mostly just interested in knowledge and research. They don't show up very often because they're usually huddled over something in the infirmary. There is Daisy, who's the reason the crew lost their memory in the first place. She is... how old is she now? Going on 20, I think, at this point. Anyways, she's a lot of fun. She's Seattle's daughter, and is really good with like computer hardware and some hacking stuff. And then there is Seth, who was a cartel gopher who was sort of kidnapped by the cartel and forced into that, and then kidnapped by this crew, and then adopted by this crew. He's a really good bean. He likes to help the crew whenever he can, and tends to be like a should we really be doing this kind of voice with the crew sometimes. And there's Liam, who is Annie's little brother, who likes to fly the ship and be a smartass sometimes to Annie, and likes to go spelunking a lot whenever he can.
He's related to Annie. Of course, he's a little smartass. What do you expect?
Yep. Yeah, so that's everybody on the ship, and then of course there are lots of NPCs in the galaxy. When we left off last session, the crew had found out that Tolan had been kidnapped, had been captured by someone, Tolan being their consistent source of jobs throughout this entire campaign. And the unusual thing about that is that while plenty of people know who Tolan is, He is sort of a big name in jobs for mercenaries. Nobody ever knew where he was. He was always moving, always in a different place. Trying to actually physically locate him was next to impossible. But apparently somebody has, and they had taken him to a planet in a system that had essentially been abandoned. And the reason being because there was supposedly this experimental, I think it was a spaceship engine project that had exploded in the system, and it had irradiated the entire area with tons of radiation. The whole population of a couple planets had been evacuated out. The crew went through the field, the captain did in a shuttle. Long story short, figured out that it's not actually irradiated. It's all like a hunting blind kind of a thing. And got shot at by missiles, blew up a silo with a railgun and things, and then the crew went in after, and finally got to the planet where Tolan is supposed to be, planet which is surrounded by satellites, which are all sort of pointing at the ship. The ship's also taken a lot of damage from missiles on the way to get here, from missile silos on a couple of different moons in the system. And as they were getting ready to go down to the planet, there were 3 FTL windows that opened up behind them, and 3 cruisers showed up right on their tail. So essentially, they've got the planet and a moon right in front of them, and 3 cruisers behind them. And that's kind of where we're coming into things. Could I get a sight roll from everyone that happens to be near a window?
Well,
no.
we're starting things off good today, aren't we?
You do have an advantage if you want to use it, but this is not a super important roll. I will go ahead and tell you that.
Hey, Raven, you remember when you said to us, like, I know you guys are feeling kind of nervous, but it'll be okay. Why are we starting off this way? This is not okay.
This is perfect.
Probably because there's just too many things to look at.
It's not an important roll. So, like, this is the perfect time to fail a roll.
We have multiple cruisers doing a pincher maneuver on us. It's not
Every
important
roll
that we see things.
Every roll is an important roll when we're in this kind of life or death situation.
I got a 25.
Econorlax has a great suggestion. I think I'm going to use this. That's not a window. It's a big TV, Seattle. And then also, thank you again, now that we're talking and everything, to Crit Twitch for that subscription. Let us know who you would like to give an advantage to. And I apologize if I missed that in chat already. Because, you can give advantage to a player. Also, Econorlax, let me know who the guild coin advantage goes to. So, Captain, you are the only one that notices anything. What is your android bonus again?
+5, I believe.
Perfect.
Let me look. Yeah, +5.
That is perfect. So with that, you actually notice the GPF insignia on the side of one of the cruisers.
Of course I do.
And
because
all of these
course it
cruisers
is.
are identical. You also notice a small one-person craft that's been following you, that has been showing up at the edge of your sensors every so often.
The chicken one?
Mm-hmm.
Damn chicken.
Shows up sort of just ahead and in the middle of these 3 cruisers, and is hailing you.
I'll respond to the hail. Yes.
Hello, yes, this is Special Agent Radek Hall. You are ordered to turn off your engines and prepare to be boarded.
Captain is going to just, without consulting the crew, turn off the engines and say, prepare to be boarded.
Is Daisy on the bridge?
Evens or odds?
Odds.
Yes. She is in the vent next to the bridge.
I think Sparky's just gonna kind of like, you know when you yell whisper something?
Oh yeah.
I think they're gonna yell whisper, Daisy, you got terrible taste in people.
The vent
Also,
cover opens. just
after
like, I wasn't part of this.
after Captain says, prepare to be boarded to like everyone on the crew,
Mm-hmm.
she's going to mute the call and say to everybody on the crew, whatever that means to you.
I love Captain.
Sorry, what did Captain just say?
You're good. So, feel free to repeat, Goody.
So they said prepare to be boarded. Captain said, like, just shut off the engines and told the whole crew, prepare to be boarded, and then you did the call to the GPF and said, whatever that means to you.
Basically, we're preparing to get boarded.
Hide what you need to hide. I don't care. Just do it.
Okay.
died.
Probably the illegal bombs and stuff we've been working on.
Right.
Annie is frantically trying to figure out a spot where to hide her brother. Like, shove this kid in the vents or something. Like, get him out of here.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I'm gonna go and down to the thing where we have the vault and stuff and start moving things into the wall.
Yep.
And basically messaging anybody who's able to help move shit. Get down.
I think Sparky would help. Yeah. I don't think they have much that they're not like holding on their person, so they might like stuff a bunch of, grenades and what have you in the vent, just in their room. But yeah, they would go help move the bombs they've been working on.
Seattle's also moving Cryopod 9 in front of where they will be boarding and setting up for greet mode.
Oh my god.
Oh, what is greet mode? I'm
It's
scared
when
to
it
ask.
greets you and it starts listing off all the cheeses that it has currently and what they would best pair with.
Oh my god, I love
And
that.
you really should try the cheese.
Captain's going to change from her freaking ugly ass cat suit into her normal clothing and make herself look more presentable.
Okay.
Seattle's also going to put the chicken into our arboreum.
Oh, I was gonna say we're starting off strong if we're bringing the chicken into this.
Put the chicken in greet mode.
No. The chicken is for if we need to release something in the hallways to make a distraction.
Okay.
The chicken's
Daisy
the emergency cryptid.
has gone to various computers around the ship and started running some sort of program.
Oh, good. You little shit, what have you been hiding?
You really don't realize how much shit we've done until somebody says we're coming to check your shit.
And then suddenly being like, oh, all of our illegal shit that's everywhere.
Hide your contraband, except the whole ship is contraband. Like, what are we supposed to do? Oh no.
Okay. Seth is helping with moving things. Liam is also helping with getting things from around the ship that might be illegal and gathering them all together.
It's
This
beyond.
is like when you're home alone and your mom is like, "Can you sweep the floors before I get home from work?" And then you hear the car pull into the drive and you're like, "Fuck the floors!"
That room better be clean before I get in. You're like, well, I mean, you said before you get in, so.
Yeah.
Oops, I locked the door and changed your keys.
I remember what those adrenaline panics would be like. Like, holy fuck, you could not get your heart rate to slow down after those.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what to do with Annie. I just I don't know.
You know what I'm the most panicked about? The fact that Sparky used to be Cartel, and that might be on their records.
Well, you still have the fake ID, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to stand up
And
to
you're
like heavy.
And you're dead, remember?
Yeah, I still worry.
Registered as dead. Your old
Face
persona.
hasn't changed much, is all I'm saying.
Can we prove that Sparky's a clone?
Oh God!
I mean, like,
But I would be
right,
like an illegal clone.
right at this moment, no. But
But still, we can say we don't know
Technically,
who the
yes.
hell Blister is, but like this guy, we found him.
We found him on Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we don't know anything
This-
about a
All I'm saying is
Blister.
Sparky's
one
running
is-
through a
Oh, and the
long
best
view.
part is Annie could straight face tell the truth. This is not Blister. This is Sparky.
Oh yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
Yeah.
Panic.
Okay. So Sparky, you are getting bombs put into the walls, right?
Yep. That's not a phrase I ever thought I would say yes to, but yes.
That's safe.
Yep.
Seattle
It's
and
about as
Seth are
safe
doing
as
the
they were
same.
otherwise.
Addie, what are you doing?
That's a good question. Internally screaming. That's a given. I think you're faced with an emergency and you just shut down. She would probably be helping as much as possible get everything cleaned out. I'm wondering though, how much time does it typically take for them to get from their ship 2 hours? Like what are we looking at time frame?
Minutes.
Minutes.
They're taking their time. No ship has launched from the cruisers yet, and Radek doesn't seem to be moving his ship yet. You are all welcome to roll something to see if you know something about that. That
Gut
would
feeling, education.
gut feeling. None of you really have prior experience
I
with
guess,
the CPF,
yeah.
like as in
Not
like
that we remember anyway.
working for them.
Right.
So yeah, you can't roll education for this one. It'd just be gut feeling. It's not bad.
We'll get all these bad rolls out of the way.
Captain doesn't have a gut.
I mean,
Backup
true.
processor.
5
you
minutes ago,
have-
I was completely fine, and now I'm feeling so much panic.
Oh, it's back.
Captain has predictive algorithms.
That doesn't count. 8.
All right. So Seattle, you're the only one that really kind of picks up on this and goes, they're letting us sweat over here. This is a psychological tactic.
It's
so
working.
You're able to figure out, like, they've got us dead to rights and they know it, and they are just taking their time with it. So they probably want you all to panic. And then what is Captain doing to prepare?
Seattle's
to be
gonna
boarded?
text. Seattle's gonna text us the captain. They want us to be shaken.
Captain just nods and says, well, it appears to be working. Honestly, anything they...
Next ship, we keep things hidden in the walls at all times.
That would be the equivalent of living out of a suitcase. Is that really realistic?
What's a suitcase?
Never mind.
Some
Next
NPC,
ship.
one of the three is going to suggest maybe we just find one with like a secret cargo hold, a hidden cargo hold that we can easily access but is hidden.
It's Seattle's like, yeah, the walls.
Like something that was designed to be hidden in.
Yep. Sorry, you were saying, Goody.
I was going to say, next ship we get is going to be the kind that can take on the GPF. This will not be a problem. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go stand and wait for these barbarians to trounce all over my ship.
All right.
Damn.
Seattle text. Cryopod 9 is in greeting mode. When do you want me to release the chicken?
Do not release the chicken.
So, what you're saying is you don't want Seattle to cock it up, right?
Exactly.
When in doubt, just show them your giant cock. That's all you gotta do.
I know, right? It's
Listen, all
such a
I'm
good
saying-
distraction.
All I'm saying is birds of a feather.
Free Willy, am I right?
Wrong animal.
Guys, this is getting foul.
Ooh,
Oh my
goodness. Maybe we could just drive them off with puns. Maybe that's the weakness.
They generally do not have a sense of humor, so maybe you're right. Anyways, after a short amount of time has passed, maybe 5 minutes or so, Radek goes to one of the cruisers. And then after about 5 minutes after that, a small transport vessel comes out of one of the cruisers and docks with your ship. And there's like the it's not literally knocking on the door, but it's like a digital knock on the door from their end to release the airlock, essentially.
I'm just picturing a really shitty doorbell.
Kinda.
The whole ship just goes,
Boom.
yeah, something like that. Da-na-na-na, na-na-na-na,
Yeah, exactly.
na-na-na-na-na-na.
Oh my god.
Like the Winnebago.
It's just like a little digital beep sound that says, you know, there's a request to open the door.
Captain opens it.
A very arrogant and smarmy looking guy in like a dress white GPS uniform steps in.
God.
And he's got fairly light complexion, dark hair with like the super villain streaks of gray in them. So just like 2 or 3 like streaks that go from the front to the back, and then the rest of it's just, you know, perfectly dark hair. And he has like a sort of a military kind of style hat on, which he takes off and tucks under his shoulder, under his arm, as he steps on. And from behind him, like water going around a column in the lake or a river or something like that, just pours a bunch of GPF guys in like SWAT gear, who start moving through the ship. And you hear him call out as they get almost out of earshot, "Be sure to check the walls." And he looks at Captain, and in a very smug tone, says, "All right, well, here's what's going to happen. We're going to be impounding your ship for the moment while we question you and the crew here. We have some very important to us questions that we need answered about certain people. And if you give us the answers that we like, perhaps you can leave here with your ship. If you don't, then, well, there's always prison and impounding your ship permanently."
Greetings, Admiral. Did somebody die?
Not off to a very good start. He pulls out a notepad and starts jotting something down. Now then,
You're wearing a uniform that indicates high respect. Either that is intended for me, which I am flattered, or somebody died.
Oh, no, this is just my special agent uniform. Now then, shall we go see to the rest of your crew?
They're around.
Right. Well, it would go a long way towards building cooperation if you were to gather them together in one place. I can question them here, or if you make things difficult, we can arrest you one by one and take you to the cruiser, which would be much less pleasant.
Captain just typed something on her wrist that says, basically, get your asses over here now. They'll be arriving shortly.
Splendid. See, we're having a polite,
Seattle
normal
wheels in
conversation.
the cheese cooler and sets it down.
Ah. It's an interesting cryopod you have there.
It's a cheese cooler.
And Seattle sets it up on Cretan mode.
Do you want me to control the cryopod cheese
Yes.
cooler, or okay?
You or Jay gets to do this thing because I have no control over it.
Up to you. I can try to do cryopod 9 justice, or you can take it, Jay, if you would like.
Oh, I can give it a stab, certainly. What did you say this individual's title was?
Special Agent Raddick Hall.
Right. Hello, Corporate Hall! Would you like some cheese?
I love this voice.
Oh god,
We have a
it's
wide
John
variety.
Mulaney.
It's very clipped at the ends.
Love that. Yeah, Raddick sets his hat down on something that happens to be by, or hangs it off of something on the wall, whatever's handy, and moves over to the cheese cooler, sort of one arm resting on his torso, his elbow resting on his hand, and then his other hand resting on his chin. Just like,
Yeah.
Well, this is quite ingenious. It seems you lot are quite handy with things, aren't you?
They're more than handy. They make cheese all the time. With me, the cooler that you are standing in front of.
Yes, well, thank you for that information.
Would you like some cheese?
You know what? Why not?
It just sits there silently.
What kind of cheese do you have?
I'm glad you asked. We have gorgonzola, mozzarella, indeterminate, cheddar.
Some cheddar would be fine, thank you.
Vending, indeterminate. And it just kind of spits out like a half-done batch of cheese. It's kind of like nacho cheese that hasn't hardened.
Oh god.
Yeah.
He just kind of looks at it like, maybe a few bugs to work out, but...
There are no bugs, unfortunately. They have not programmed me for protein cheese.
Why does the cheese cooler suddenly sound like Kermit the Frog?
I don't know.
It's close. It's close. Don't tempt me.
Please, I
realize
beg
I
of
really
you.
ought to be arrested. Oh my god.
It's not easy being cheese.
Please, I beg you.
It's really warm in this room right now.
Oh, that's so great. All right, well, a moment because you've broken the chain.
Put that on the tally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it just kind of goes on. I won't steal the show with a cheese cooler all day.
Oh, that's good. So yes, Raddick is quickly becoming less amused at the cheese cooler. And we're gonna skip over to everybody else. So let's start with Annie. Are you actually heading to where the captain is at the airlock?
Oh my god, give me a second to collect myself, because you would not believe the absolute inhuman wheezing that was coming out of me while I was muted. That was Oh my goodness. I think the real travesty here is that this guy has stayed discussing things with a cheese cooler for this long while the rest of the crew is out doing God knows what. Yeah, Annie is gonna make her way to Cap. But she is she's not dealt with a situation specifically like this in the past. But she draws on a very specific memory of this kind of fear that she's experienced before. And so she's familiar with that sensation, and she knows well enough how to mask it as best she can. So drawing on that previous kind of experience and previous memory, she slows her breathing, kind of takes a few deep breaths, makes her way to Cap, and she strolls as nonchalantly as she can, face masked in this like serene expression, like she's on her way to the calf to get some food, to the mess hall to sit down or something, like, oh, Captain sent a message, let's go see what she wants, kind of expression kind of deal, as she makes her way down there.
Okay. As you're about halfway to your destination, you are approached and then flanked by two of these SWAT guys. And one of them has like this fancy looking PDA type thing, and scans you, looks at it, and goes, "Oh, right this way, miss. What last name would Annalise be known by to the police?"
Her father's. It would be, I don't know if you want to say it fancy, like de Heaven or de Haven, basically is the bastardized. You can just say de Haven.
I mean, one, I have a hard time pronouncing French words correctly. Yeah. Two, these are GPF SWAT assholes, so they'd probably purposely pronounce it incorrectly.
Yeah. You can just say de Haven, yeah.
Right this way, miss. De Haven. Yes, this way. And they do gently escort you to where the captain is.
I think Annie would probably paste that like too innocent smile on her face. But as they like, you know, I imagine they like put a hand gently on her back or something, escorting her along. So she kind of just puts that smile on her face, and then after a second goes, "Just make sure you watch those hands." But she doesn't, like, she just goes. She doesn't put up any resistance.
Okay. Sparky, are you heading to the airlock?
Yeah, I think Sparky took a second, changed their clothes in their room, and they're doing the same kind of thing as Annie. They're putting on like an air of kind of not even just nonchalance, but confidence. They're very much in that like, no, I've done nothing wrong. I don't know what the fuss is all about, but we'll get this sorted. And they're putting on their like a mix of the lawyer persona and Santa Marie, who runs the Conch Corps.
Okay.
So inside, they are like melting from the panic, but outside, they're putting on this calm, confident, like, nah, it's fine. We'll be out of this shortly.
Okay. I forgot to mention, so normally I would be having you roll discipline rolls for these things, but I'm just going to give you all free successes on the discipline to act and look whatever way you want to look for these guys.
How kind.
So, auto success on that.
Thank you for giving us a small advantage when you deliberately put us in this situation. How kind of you. So generous.
To be fair, she baited a trap, said that's a trap, and then we ran into it.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted the cheese real bad, but it's only us to blame.
How about not placing the trap to begin with? That would be great.
Oh, then we'd have to change this to a space exploration sim.
Okay, you're not wrong. Valid.
So, but Sparky's doing that and then heading that way? Was that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just like making their way again nonchalantly, like they're just taking their time because they're not going to appear rushed because that is what criminals do. Innocent people don't care, probably. Haven't met one recently, but I'd assume.
So same thing. You were met with well, both of you were met with a lot more than just two, but two of them flank you and do the whole scan thing. And there's like a error message on the PDA. I'm like, huh? Tap, tap, tap. Scan again. Error message. Hand me yours. They swap these PDAs. Scans. Error message. Like,
As they're going through this, Sparky's just standing there like, just kind of smiling wanly at them all, like, this happens all the time, you know.
Citizen, are you aware that you are dead?
Not the last time I checked, but it wouldn't be the first time.
Well, the picture matches. Do you know a blister?
Sometimes when I wear sandals too long, yes.
I love that. Could I get a charm roll from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Joke's on you, that's where all my points went.
Nice. 29 is pretty good. They're definitely not 100% convinced, but they are convinced enough to just let it go.
Okay.
They're like, whatever. Agent Hall will sort it out. And they escort you, though not nearly as gently as they did Annie.
I hope you washed those hands recently.
They do just look at each other through their,
The big like
face
visors,
helmets
yeah.
and everything. You can't really make any features out, but you just see the two helmets look at each other. They're like, we're wearing gloves. They just sort of give you a little shove down the hallway. Seattle, are you going to where Captain is, or are you doing something else?
He brought the cheese cooler.
Oh, you brought the cheese cooler. That's right, you're there.
He wheeled in the cheese cooler.
That's right. Sorry.
He's standing with his son.
That's right. Okay. Wow, my brain just went blank again. Alright, so everyone is either there or being escorted there. NPCs now. Did anybody tell the doctor specifically what was going on?
Do
I know
we ever?
The captain like told everyone, but was that like ship-wide, intercom like announcement thing, or was that just to, like the group?
It was everybody.
Okay.
It was everybody.
Just double checking.
Hopefully the doctor got that memory drug stashed down a drain.
Yeah. So, the doctor is remarkably calm. And this is for the benefit of the audience and meta knowledge for players. The doctor seems to be remarkably calm. Has seemed to have removed anything that might be even remotely some sort of illicit substance from the infirmary, and is calmly standing and next to the door as these SWAT guys arrive. They scan the doctor and look at the information. Yep, that tracks. Alright, right this way. And they lead the doctor about as gently as they led Sparky. Maybe a little bit less pushing, because the doctor doesn't really make any smart remarks or anything like that. They're remarkably quiet for the doctor.
How many sedatives did the doctor take?
None. They did not take any sedatives.
That's the remarkable part.
Yeah. Liam gets much the same treatment as Annie. Liam is scanned. There is an please come with us. Very gently escorted over to the captain. Seth, kind of gets a scan. Huh. Don't know him, but you're coming with us. Kind of treatment. Is escorted a little bit roughly as well. And
They never scanned Captain.
They never scanned Seattle either.
Let's see here. I'm gonna use my advantage for this. That's not any better.
It'll be fine.
For who, madam? For who?
Would you like another advantage?
We'll
I
be
mean,
okay.
if you want.
We'll be fine.
Why are we giving her
That depends.
advantages?
Yeah,
Like-
no, I'm. That's what I was gonna ask. Is
It's
it
for
advantageous to? Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
It's
She's not
ridiculous.
gonna get shot right away this time.
Maybe.
This time.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Please
Are you
do
rolling
not
for Daisy?
I
Not
am rolling for Daisy,
Give
yes.
Seattle more daughter drama.
There you
He
go.
walks in wearing a shirt
Alright.
that just says "Shoot me, bitches," and it's like, why today, Daisy?
Of all days.
49 is as good as it's gonna get. It's enough for the moment, but just barely. So Daisy doesn't initially show up with the group. Is that everybody on the ship? Yes. Okay. So the SWAT team starts going through the ship, and they're kind of ransacking the place. Things are getting thrown on the floor, knocked over.
Have fun
they are
with a
not-
chicken.
Oh, Seattle does go up to Radek and like is frantically, "Hey, my emotional support rooster is not going to react well to this. Can you leave the arboreum? There's just food plants and a very large scared bird in there."
Radek relays that to them, and tells them what room it's in. But eventually, all of you, sans Daisy, are gathered together.
Wait, are they breaking Captain's plants?
Well, they better not be.
They're not breaking the plants, but they all probably aren't being super gentle. So yeah, they'll be fine, but you know they're not gonna be as pristine as they were.
How dare
You
when get
you
back.
have a penchant for using the word "fine." You know that, right?
They will be. You're all still here, right? It's fine.
Oh my god.
Anyways, but once you're all gathered together, Radek sort of gives you all a long stare, and then says, "All right, who would like to go first?" Don't everyone volunteer at once.
I'd be happy to go first.
Ah, yes, the noble captain. All right, if you'll follow me, and he sort of motions to go into the transport. Eventually, the heat death of the universe will make everything uniform, so it'll be fine. It's not that kind of fine.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks.
So does Captain go into the transport?
Yes.
Okay. So Radek goes into the transport with the captain, closes the door on their side. So everybody else is not able to see or hear what transpires. And on the inside of the transport, there are rows of seats where obviously those SWAT guys were sitting. But the rest of it looks like almost like a tea room. There's a nice little table with enough room for like 2 or 3 people to sit at, but there's only 2 chairs. It's got like a tablecloth and refreshments on the table, like little finger sandwiches and things like that, and tea. And the lighting is such that it's very like relaxed and whatnot. And Radek offers you a seat at the table.
Captain graciously takes it, sits very politely with her hands tucked and stares straight up forward ahead.
All right. Radek takes a seat across from you. Takes a moment to pour himself a glass of tea, or not a glass, a nice fancy teacup of tea. Kind of sets it on the saucer, thinks for a moment, and then grabs 2 sugar cubes out of a little dish, goes to put them in, then thinks better of it, and just puts one in and puts the other one back. Doesn't say anything the entire time. Grabs a couple of sandwiches, just taking his time getting his little plate put together. And then looks across to you. It says, right. Now then, as I mentioned, we have some questions that are very important to us. I'm sure you have some questions of your own, and I'm not unreasonable. If you answer my questions, I may be able to answer some of yours. So, first question. How long have you known Tolan?
I have been under the employ of Tolan most my remembered programming.
And how long would that be?
About 5 years, I believe.
5 years, I see. All right. And would you say you have a good working relationship with Tolan?
In the definition that he will offer us jobs and we complete them, yes. However,
Okay.
there have been times when he has turned his back on us.
I see. That's interesting that you would go through all this trouble to try and save him if he's turned his back on you before. Why the sudden loyalty?
We received... If he had simply disappeared, we would not have thought anything of it. But the fact that something pointing to a location for him indicated distress. And my crew are not ones to leave other people behind in distress.
He nods and is like writing things down in the notebook and sort of leans forward and goes, the implication of distress was by design. Interesting. So your crew will just go out of their way to save anyone in trouble, is what you're saying.
I'm sure we have our limits. But Tolan had, at that point, not given us reason to simply turn tail and forget him.
Very interesting.
And that would have raised
As-
suspicion in and of itself, wouldn't it? Have a relationship that long with him, and then just, oh, he disappeared, too bad.
You'd be surprised how things work in the mercenary world. Speaking of which, the jobs that you've taken for Tolan, at least the ones that he's listed for us, seem to have become very different as of about 6 months ago. Why is that?
There was a traumatic event.
Interesting. Tell me about it.
I wish I could.
And why can you not?
because I was not technically present for it. In a sense, none of us were present for it.
Yes, that's helpfully vague. Could you elaborate?
There was a memory wipe.
So your hard drives were reformatted, reprogrammed. Is that what you're saying?
In my case, yes.
And the crew?
Their memories were removed from them.
Ah, okay. And he starts writing a lot down in his little notebooks. Like, this explains quite a lot. All right. Well, you've answered most of my questions so far. Do you have any questions for me?
Was Tolan ever actually in danger?
Oh, yes, we have him in... Oh, danger is a subjective term. He's in custody. We managed to locate him, in part thanks to your communication, so thank you for that. But it helped us get a general area that we thought he might be in, and our other contacts were able to locate him. We were able to apprehend him and bring him in, and we knew that given your communications with him and how he went on about your crew, that would likely be enough to draw you out so that we could have our little chat.
Might I make a suggestion? The way you hold your face.
Yes?
You're causing a permanent line in your cheek. You're obviously quite concerned about your appearance, as those streaks in your hair are intentional. I can smell the hair dye at this moment.
I will take that under consideration. Thank you. Any other questions?
My crew will not be harmed, correct?
I am not in the business of harming anyone if I don't have to. So, as long as everyone cooperates, the worst that you can have to look forward to is a small jail cell. That's about the worst that will happen to you.
Certainly. Enjoy
All
your
right, well,
tea.
I will. I think that's about all I have for you. Let's get you back to the rest of your crew, and we'll ask someone else some questions. So he'll take you back through the airlock and look at the rest of the crew. Oh no. Sorry. That comment in Zoom chat. Sorry, your Zoom is frozen, V. I guess with that...
I'm good now. I just missed a little bit of the conversation, that's all.
Oh, okay. Mostly just Radek being extremely smarmy and asking a bunch of questions about like Tolan and the type of work, and figured out that you all lost your memories, and was like, that explains a lot, and went on to be more smarmy. But he's going to look between Annie and Seattle and say, all right, who would like to go next?
Annie glances over at Seattle to see what he thinks.
He takes that as Annie does not want to go yet. So he heads on up.
Okay. Yeah. He escorts you into the transport. You see the exact same scene.
Also, they haven't scanned him yet.
They have not. Yeah, they haven't. That's true. It's a good observation. They escort you into the transport, offer you a seat, and they actually speak sign language back to you. and offer you tea and refreshments if you would like.
Nope.
They just nod and pull out their notebook and sort of stare at it for a little bit, sip from their tea. Again, like giving this a bit of a pause before they actually start talking. But then they communicate with you in sign language for the whole thing, and say, now, you joined the crew, what would that be, about 9 or so months ago?
No idea.
Right, the memory wipe. But that was about 6 months ago, yes?
Yes.
I see. Looks like there's been quite a few investigations into your past from a while back. I'm happy
You
to see
mean Guy
that.
Lavoie? That's not my past.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from here. Yes, your former past.
No, Guy Lavoie is dead.
It's like, fair enough. Well, I don't think that'll be a problem for our conversation here. How much do you know about a crap? What was his last name? Do you all remember if I gave Matt a last name?
No,
I don't think we
we
did.
just know him as Gas Station Matt.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just
I've only
Matt.
ever called him Matt the radar technician.
Yeah, Matt.
You're still muted there, Jay. Sorry.
I'll check my notes, but I'm pretty sure we didn't.
Okay. Well, pretend he has a last name. And Radix says, "Do you know anything? Or tell me what you know about Matt last name."
Seattle's like looking confused because he's never heard Matt's last name.
Right.
Seattle's like, who?
You may know him better as the now owner of Fuel at Matt's.
Oh, Matt. Yeah, he's Matt the gas guy.
Charming. Yes, Matt the gas guy. How well would you say you know this individual?
I mean, we've met him a couple of times when we were fueled for gas.
Right. And what do you know about the events of, needless, whatever date that you were at the station and started a like, coup of the whole place?
And like Seattle's like looking like he's actively trying to fucking remember things about this, and like he's just like staring off to the side and like looking like he's trying to remember, but like nothing's coming to him.
Let me refresh your memory. There was reports of a ship matching your ship's description.
Right.
At the station, there was quite a lot of violence.
I remember
murders.
we told everybody to stop fighting or we would fire the railgun. So we got them to stop fighting.
Fighting. And fire the rail. That's That's a noble goal, but rather questionable means.
I mean, we were kind of being shot at from both sides and couldn't get out.
Also,
And
big
you
talk from a cop.
So, you just happened to be there when this
We
event
needed
took
gas.
place and had no involvement in starting said events.
It was already happening when we got there. We just wanted gas.
I see. All right, and how about now? Where would you say your relationship with this Matt person is?
I mean, I haven't seen him since like 2 months ago when we were in that area and needed gas.
Okay, so you would say you're just an occasional customer, and that's your relationship to this person.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good station to go to. And you at least know that the people who work there and stuff aren't being screwed over by big companies.
Not being screwed over by big companies. Sounds like you have a lot of opinions on that. Share some with me.
I'm from Earth. I am not from the nice parts of Earth.
Yes, I see. Very helpful. Very familiar with your past on Earth. When was the last time that you saw, and I cannot remember what first name we gave Guy's husband. I just know it's the same last name. So whatever his first name is and last name.
And Seattle's like, he's dead. Like, complete confusion. It's like, I went and put Guy's wedding rings on his grave so they could be together.
I see. Well, there's a lot of that going around. People who are supposedly dead, not being dead.
Is
people
he alive?
Who were alive that are dead. That's.
Is he alive?
Is who alive?
Guy Lavoie's husband. Is he alive?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't answer questions about ongoing investigations. He sort of starts writing more stuff down. Guy's a total asshole.
Like, Seattle's like looking fucking horrified because, wait, if he's alive, how the fuck did he do that to her daughter?
Yep. All right. So the do you have any sort of connection with what's colloquially known as the polite mafia on Earth?
Seattle's like looking confused again. Oh, right, the guy who got really uncomfortable because I thought he was hot. Turns out he was Guy's brother-in-law.
Yeah, he just sort of like chuckles and is like, yes, I suppose that's the person. Interesting to
Hey,
note.
can I get a waffle?
Let me check. He stands up and goes over to it's like a refrigerator type thing. And
Does he leave his notebook on the table?
Sure. He
Seattle.
scribbles something down in his notebook and then sets it down on the table with the pad closed.
Oh, Seattle's not even being like subtle about it. He just reaches across to open it and take a look.
I'll tell you what it says in a second. There's some shuffling sounds from the refrigerator, and it doesn't take very long at all for him to go, we do have some waffles, and turns around. And when you open the pad, if you look at the very first page that has writing on it, it says, "I knew you would look."
Oh yeah, and he's flipping through more pages. He's not being shy about it.
Okay. A lot of it is just gibberish. So not all of the sentences make sense. But he's been taking notes on everything that you've said and everything that Captain's said, sort of just like the important parts, noting it down and the dates.
Is it gibberish like shorthand, or is it gibberish like doctor's notes?
It's gibberish like it's legible, but
Okay.
the words don't make sense with the rest of the notes.
Okay. Sorry, just curious.
They seem to be like random thoughts or like a grocery list.
He's doing it to fuck with us.
So
Pick up
Braddock...
cucumbers after killing criminals. Yep.
So He sets the waffle down on your plate there, Seattle, and takes the notepad back out of your hands and goes, "Thank you." So, your connection to the, as they call it, polite mafia is what?
I don't think I have one. They just wanted to know why the fuck I was by guy's husband's grave. And when they found out we didn't remember anything, they just let us go.
I see. Oh, that explains a few things. And your daughter, any direct relation or connection to that group?
I don't think so. She didn't even want to come anywhere near the cemetery when when I went there.
Okay, you scribble a few more things down. And the last time you saw her?
Saw who?
Your daughter.
Well, you saw her earlier too when I was talking to Annie. That's my daughter.
Daisy wasn't there in the airlock.
No, he just said Annie. That's my daughter.
Oh, I see. You were talking to your daughter in the airlock.
Yeah. Annie, Little Mouse.
Interesting. Put it this way, your other daughter, Daisy.
I have more kids?
I'm gonna need a, I'll let you choose if you want to try to be charmingly play dumb, or if you want to, try and, logic convince him that, my memories are gone. How would I know about a daughter?
What would the logic convince be?
Speech.
Oh, God, it's the same amount for both.
Oh, no. So it's really just what flavor do you want to put on it?
Let's go with logic, because he's like, no, I have a daughter, I have 2 sons, and I have a best friend, and I have a captain.
Interesting. And he writes down a few things. What's the roll that goes with it?
Oh, God, that's a 13.
Very
So
interesting. I see.
He's fucking over the names, and he's stumbling more and more.
Well, I think that's about all the information I need from you. Any questions for me? I'll answer what I can.
Yeah, what are you doing tonight?
Well, that depends on how things go with the rest of your crew. That might be a lot more
Seattle
interrogating.
waggles his eyebrows.
Sorry, I'm just reading comments in Zoom chat. It's fantastic. As you waggle your eyebrows, he looks up and signs back to you, "Oh, right, I was told to expect the flirting. Sorry, you're not my type." And escorts
not
you
my
out of
fault
the
you don't
airlock.
have taste. And he leaves.
He seems entirely nonplussed by the intended insult. Escorts you out, and then looks at Sparky and Annie. And says, "Which one of you would like to go next?"
I think Sparky gives Annie a look that, it's not a look that Annie has seen. Annalise might have seen it before. It's very much like when Blister was in disguise mode, if they ever did that. It's very much a look of I'm not me right now, so play along. And they just give Annie a look of well, I suppose we should get this charade over sometime, get these individuals off of our ship. We have things to attend to. And yeah, they'll just see if Annie's gonna go for it first, and if not, then Sparky will go.
Yeah, Annie will go, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Radek is even more pleasant with Annie, and more quote unquote like performative chivalry. Opening the door for you and letting you go first, and pulling the chair out for you and that sort of thing.
This scares me more. Please treat her roughly or something. I don't.
And asks if there's anything else that you would like. Offers you, the refreshments on the table, but says I can prepare a different tea if you would like. Any preference?
Annie kind of like stretches her body up a little bit, like she's looking over towards the refreshments, and she says, "What kind of stuff do you have?"
Let's see. We've got, and he goes through a few different types of tea. Fairly fancy sounding ones. Like there's every color of tea that you might want. Red, white, green, black, herbals.
She probably picks whatever fanciest one she recognizes out of her memory.
Okay. It's my favorite color, herbals, yes. Alright, he makes something that's since you are now have all of your memories, you would know is yes, very expensive. Has like an electric kettle and fixes it for you. It takes a few minutes, and then sets the little pot in front of you with a fresh cup. Sits down and picks up his notebook.
She starts pouring an outrageous amount of sugar into it, like deliberately. And then once she's done, like it's an obscene amount. And when she's done, she like stirs it with her finger and takes a sip of it. She seems content.
Okay. You get like an eyebrow raise, but that's about it. Sorry, I'm just having to remember who knows what about certain things. Yes, okay. So he opens up with a question of, how long have you been with this crew?
I think maybe the question you're looking for is, how long do I remember being with this crew?
No, I'm pretty sure I asked the right question the first time.
Pretty sure you're not, because I only remember, what has it been? Maybe 6 months?
I see. So for 6 months, you have memories of being with the crew and an indeterminate amount of time before that. Is that right, Miss? And he says it French, De Haven.
See, I think you've got it wrong again. It's actually Belmont. But yes, that is correct.
Yes, Belmont. The alias you started using when you started doing, shall we say, creative programming.
I mean, if you say so, but that's the name that I've known for the past 6 months. So, Annie Belmont, it's me.
Could I get a charm roll from Annie?
Sure. 28.
Do you have any bonuses to add on to that from skills? Or training, rather?
The only other thing that I would have is my information broker training, which I might argue that because of that, she would be good with manipulating information and talking to people, perhaps?
I'll let you use like half of that bonus.
Okay, half rounded up or half rounded down?
Up.
Up? So that would be an additional 6.
Okay.
So
Then,
34.
Yeah, you are convincing enough for the moment that he kind of drops that line of questioning.
Okay.
And moves on to listing off a few things. And he's like staring at your face as he does. He says, what do you know about entyl oxide, cameline, and wizenteprol.
Well, I know that they probably aren't teas. And she takes another sip of her tea.
All right, I need a discipline roll to keep a perfectly straight face.
I have an absolute garbage discipline roll. A 10.
Oh no, you do have an advantage if you want to use it.
All right, sure. It's fine because it's another 10.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Let me check something else. Okay. Nope. No help there. Yeah. With a 10, you definitely flinch. Even though you're doing a pretty good job of keeping your voice calm and everything else, like those little involuntary face movements that people do gets picked up on. It's like, no, they're not teas. These are pharmaceutical ingredients which you and your crew have stolen from some very interesting places over the last couple of months.
Is that so? She takes another sip of tea.
It is. Now, with most any else of your crew, with this sort of game that you're playing, I would just take you over to the cruiser and interrogate you properly. But as Annalise de Haven wouldn't understand, there might be a little bit of a problem with that, so that's interesting to note. And the pen clicks and more notes are scribbled in. So I think that's all I need to ask of you. Perhaps I will go question, what's this name here? Liam next. Perhaps he'll be a little more cooperative.
Raven, you motherfucker. She is trying her very best not to react to that.
That's just someone that you picked up on your travels, right? Someone, sort of a hitchhiker, if you will. Is that right?
Yeah, our crew has a very interesting habit of sort of adopting misfits, you could say. And Liam is one of those misfits that we happened upon.
Interesting. It's not unlike what happens on our larger ships. You see, when we pilot through various star systems and planetary systems, because the ships are so large, it has their own sort of gravitational pull, and we tend to collect a lot of debris and garbage and things like that underneath the hull, and occasionally has to be cleared off.
Are you likening our crewmates to garbage?
Oh no, I was just making a similar analogy of how sometimes smaller objects can be attracted to larger ones. I tell you what, maybe I'll put off talking to Liam. Just answer one more question for me. What was the name of that bank? I don't think I ever gave it a name. The bank that you all crashed through the front of and stole a bunch of money from. He lists that bank. It says, what was your ship doing at that bank on this date?
She sits there and she sits there and her eyes kind of look around, but not in the trying to avoid the question, but more like thinking. And maybe if you just look around, your memory will provide you with what you're trying to remember. So it's just a very like lazy, The name itself does not ring any bells. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what, but it's not unlikely that perhaps one of our crewmates wanted to make a withdrawal or something of that nature, as one does at a bank, perhaps. But other than that, I wouldn't be able to say.
aside from yourself, I can't imagine anyone on your crew having the proper connections to get an account at this particular bank. But a ship of your description was seen there, and it looked like their shuttle had crashed into the front door. Very interesting tactic. Similar one was used to steal a lot of that, what was it? Interloxide. Curious, don't you think?
Certainly.
All right, well, I don't think I have any more questions for you, so feel free to take that tea with you and head on back to your crew.
She stands up, takes her teacup, walks over to the refreshment table, and sticks a few tiny sandwiches between her fingers so that her hand is like full of the sandwiches slotted in between her fingers, raises them in a little salute, gives a very nice smile, and takes her teacup and like walks slowly so that she doesn't spill it.
Fucking love Annie. All right. Few short moments later, Radek comes out and looks to Sparky and says, "All right, we can question you now."
Well, it's about time. And they'll strut forward, just like they look like they're really just ready to be done with all this. Like they have that air of like.
As Annie passes you by as you're going in, she looks at you, gives a similar little salute with her handful of sandwiches, and goes, "There's nothing to worry about. They're pretty much just typical job questions, like at a job interview. So, I wouldn't even sweat it." And she goes to stand back by Liam.
Don't ever tell Sparky not to sweat it. That's like their basic function.
Oh goodness!
It does throw them ever so slightly, but I think they kind of manage it in a way where it's like, like the. Ooh.
Yeah, see, Annie knows you're gonna sweat it. Those weirdos in the other place with the refreshments don't know that.
Well, they might. They seem to know an awful fucking lot about us. But yeah, they'll follow. What was his name? Radicol.
Radicol, yeah. Special Agent Radicol.
Yeah, sure. So Mr. Hall.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he puts a lot of emphasis on the special part.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he escorts you politely into the shuttle. Not quite the royal treatment that Annie got, but very polite and pleasant.
Okay.
And does offer you anything from what's on the table.
I think they would politely decline. Like, no, thank you. I've already had brunch.
Oh, very well. They pour themselves another cup. I hope you don't mind if I...
No, please. We're on your timetable, as it were.
His caffeine intake is a little bit alarming.
Right? It's a bit much. Might explain the notes.
I'm
geez.
waiting for him to have to take a piss because he's going through like 5 glasses of tea and like
seriously,
his
Joke's
bladder
on
must
you.
be screaming.
Joke's on you. He's a
Lay
special
off.
agent. They all have catheters.
Ew. God, I don't want to.
Cannot move that easily in a catheter.
That's why he's special. He's had training. Please, stop me. Just carry on.
Military dress whites. That is a bold move.
Yeah.
That is a
Ooh.
bold move.
Anyways, he's actually... This is like his second cup. Like, he's just been like slightly
Like
sipping from
nursing
it the
it.
whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's green
Has
tea, so not a
alcohol
lot of
in it,
caffeine.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
To
but
deal with
that's
us,
still a
must do.
diuretic.
Probably going to by the end of the day.
If we have anything to say about it, hell
Yeah.
If anything, if we have anything to say about that, that tea will be fortified with alcohol soon.
I just don't trust that it's not got drugs in it. It's cops. Don't trust cops.
Absolutely.
Well, Annie will be able to let you know shortly.
I fucking hope so. Anyway, so yeah, Sparky's just sitting there
Those sugar cubes
calmly.
were great. Anyways, you were saying.
Sparky's just sitting there waiting. They're just kind of like politely, but in that indignant, polite way. Like, yeah, go on.
You're pulling like the polite Karen.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. He doesn't take very long to fix his tea and whatnot, and just comments on the fact like you're much more polite than your other crewmate. I appreciate that. I just have a few questions for you. So one, what was your name? Our scanners seem to be showing that you are dead. I'm guessing this is.
It's been a clerical issue for the last, at least 2 years now. I think they still haven't fixed it. Anyway, my name is Santa Marie, and yours was again?
I am Special Agent Radic Hall.
And if you don't mind my asking, what exactly are you an agent of? Obviously, the GPF, of course, but...
Yes, I can't go into too much detail because of classified information, but I'm a special agent in charge of, let's say, special cases of investigation.
Well...
Large-scale crimes, dissidents, that sort of thing.
I see.
Now then, cuts to now that we've got your name and we've introduced ourselves. What can you tell me about a Sonia Tompkins?
Well, as much as I imagine anyone else who hasn't met them could.
Cute. So you've never been to Celos Prime?
I can't say I recall. Are there many law disputes there? That is my practice.
Oh, you're a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. What area of practice?
Well, much as you can't speak to much of yours, I'm afraid client confidentiality. But I tend to specialize in wrongful cases, anything that is attributed to someone who hasn't actually done anything. It tends to vary, but a lot of it's pro bono.
Ah, a defense attorney, I see. Okay. Nothing wrong with that, of course. We need both sides of every story.
I've heard that before.
He's sort of just like mirroring this sort of very polite, but like
listen, when you're met with a polite asshole, your only recourse.
I love this exchange. I was like, I see. Also, I do need a charm roll to sell that.
I was waiting for
Celos Prime. What?
What? Technically, it's Celos, so you know.
Not that I've been there. I read.
How about a 31?
Yeah, that is actually convincing.
Cool.
And he drops that. It's like,
It wouldn't be mansplaining, themsplaining?
I don't know, like dumbsplaining?
They-splaining? I kind of like that.
They-splaining is not bad.
They-splaining. And just as
so face-planting kind of sounds like face planting.
I mean, they both have the same effect.
Yeah.
So your law firm, is that in any way connected to was it Shell Corporation? Conchcore, that's what it was.
Conchcore, that's right.
I see. And what interest does Conchcore have with Intel?
Is that another business?
No, that is a pharmaceutical ingredient produced by a Generico Pharmaceuticals. I just had a log note that you were in attendance of that facility when a shuttle, not unlike the one we saw in the shuttle bay, crashed into the building and stole some things. There also
I
was
don't remember it quite like that.
There also was a Daisy Lavoie present, apparently. Apparently there was a lot of her blood at the scene, and they were able to identify her through that.
Was there some sort of accident?
A shootout, as it turns out. Very unsavory business. I'm surprised you didn't hear the gunshots.
No, I'm afraid I tend to turn a deaf ear to things that don't interest me.
I would think something like that would be a of interest to a defense lawyer.
Well, you would think that, wouldn't you?
All right, well, any questions for me?
A few. One, Special Agent Radek Hall, what exactly is your jurisdiction?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm a special agent in charge of major crimes and dissidents, which gives me very broad discretionary powers over who to apprehend.
I see. A dog without a chain, if you would. My next question, Mr. Hall, is why are 3 GPF cruisers in what appears to be a very heavily fortified area that, to my knowledge and public record, is in fact an irradiated wasteland that no one lives in? Any comments?
That's classified, I'm afraid.
Really? And that's covered under your crimes investigation? Was there some sort of crime here that happened?
No. Well, there was breaking and entering, destruction of GPF buildings, attempted murder. Quite a lot of crimes already to list here from your little excursion through the system.
And I'm sure those will stack up in court. Now, one last question for you, Mr. Hall, if I may. What exactly is your purpose here? Now, as we both know, this is all confidential, of course. And as we both know, you are the authority here. So clearly you have all the power in the world. So I must scratch my head to baldness. What would make you think to ask us anything? Why not just throw us in jail and be done with it? Certainly a man of your stature has much more important things to do than to come to an irradiated wasteland that doesn't exist, which certainly no one would want to hear about or find out. I'm sure no one wants that information getting spread.
So I was reading a note in Zoom. He just sort of looks at you, listens to the whole thing, and lists off some corporate government act that basically says, you know, in the areas of suspected dissidents, the GPF can basically do mostly whatever they want, unless you have connections, which is why they haven't been messing with Annie very much. So it explains that particular act or law or whatever that was passed is his authorization to do all of this, and then says, I could throw all of you in a cell. That's still an option, the one I'd prefer not to go with because, well, have you ever been fishing before?
I can't say I tend to engage in such droll activities, no. I'm quite busy, you see.
Oh, well, let me explain how it works.
Oh, please do, certainly.
Oh, I'd be happy to. So in fishing, oftentimes, you may catch a small fish, and that small fish isn't really going to do you much good. It's too small to really bother with. However, that small fish, if you put it out back into the open water, the spacious water, if you will, and that fish were to have some sort of tracking implement on it, or a way to communicate with the fisherman, when the bigger fish comes up and tries to eat the smaller fish or hang out with it or so, then the fisherman would be able to locate and ascertain the larger fish.
I'm afraid I don't follow. You talk to fish?
Right. Let me put it in more plain terms.
Mr. Hall, why don't I give you an analogy and see if it hits your ear quite the right way? Have you ever had a dog?
can't say that I have.
Well, let me
Don't
tell you something
particularly
about... can't imagine why. You seem to share a lot of the same traits. Let me tell you something about owning a dog, Mr. Hall. You can train it throughout its entire life to follow every order you give it, every rule, every single thing you tell it to do. It can do if you get it early enough. But if you try to explain to that dog why you are getting it to do these things, well, what does the dog care? The dog just follows orders.
I see. Yes, perhaps that is a much better analogy. So let me put it this way then, and trying to explain what's going on. The options which I will present to your android captain. Curious choice of captain, but she seems more competent than the rest of you, so I understand. The options that will be presented to her will be that I can put you all in prison and impound your ship, or we can place a tracking device on your ship, and you can feed us information about a few certain individuals of various categories of unsavory.
Oh, I think I just got your fish analogy.
Excellent. Well, I will let you get about your business since you seem to be very busy with confidential client work. You can leave.
So kind. Mr. Hall, I do hope that we meet again. You've been ever such gentle company. And they stand up, dust their dress off, and they go for a shake.
Yeah, they'll shake Sparky's hand.
Okay. Yeah, they just nice firm grip. They shake and then they head out.
They pretty much just like match your pressure level, and their hand is strange detail, but moisturized and is not sweaty at all. And just as handshakes go, it's pleasant.
Sparky's hand is probably warm, but not like sweaty. Just like, like that's a warm hand.
And then, we'll go to the next scene, which is Radek bringing the captain back in, and sitting you down and giving you those options. And I think that's a good spot to take a break, because I know we're a little bit over our normal time for that. You can decide what answer you want to give Radek when we get back. So, hang around, be back here in 15 minutes, go hydrate, stretch your legs, all that good stuff, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So, as I mentioned, Radek does come back after a little while. Kind of lets the crew... there's enough time that the crew can, go back through the ship and start cleaning, I'm assuming. And then comes back for Captain and says... All right, I think I've gone over all my notes. I have all the information that I need for now. Would like to have one more conversation with you. And then, hopefully, depending on how that conversation goes, you can be on your way.
Certainly.
And he escorts you back to the transport. Back to the nice little table. There's a curtain drawn across the ship, sort of dividing it, so you're not having to look at a bunch of SWAT guys. And he sets his notebook down and looks across and says, I looked through all the answers that your crewmates gave. Obviously, a lot of them were lies. But I'm not really all that concerned about that in particular. The last person I spoke with, what name did you give, Sparky? You're muted still.
Sorry, Gimp, Santa Marie.
Santa Marie. They... wow, my mind just went completely blank. Yeah, I told Santa Marie some options that you have. Essentially, you are... excuse me. You are a small fish, and I'm trying to catch a big fish. And so that means, lucky for you, if I let you go, as long as you give me information about the bigger fish out there, the people that we ask you to spy is a bit strong of a word. Look in on from time to time. Give us information about that. We can let you go. You can go back about your business. Sans some contraband and questionably legal items that we found in your ship. But aside from that, you can be on your way. Rest assured, Tolan has already made a similar deal with us, so he will be safe and sound back at his home, if you can call it that. So, what's your answer?
And who might this larger fish be?
Oh, a few different factions and organizations. We're interested in the cartel, this polite mafia from Earth. There's been a growing sort of dissidence movement in some of the outlying systems. Of particular interest is this Fuel at Matt's franchise that seemed to have popped up. And there's a independent mining sort of consortium on Salos Prime that's been rocking the boat, shall we say. A few others. We'll let you know who.
Now, when you say large fish, do you mean a sturgeon?
Player doesn't really know what a sturgeon is. I know it's a
It's
fish.
a
That's all I
very
know.
big fish.
Okay.
It's a very big fish.
As compared to a small fish, sure, you've got sturgeon. It could work as an analogy.
But what are you classifying as a small fish?
You.
Anchovy?
Sure. The details aren't that important. Essentially, we will give you names of people that we need you to look in on, and you will give us whatever information you have on them and their activities. And in exchange, you get to leave here with your ship and not go to prison.
Which contraband items will you be taking?
Oh, we've already gathered them up. There were several explosives, which were clearly not for industrial use, that we had to confiscate. A large number of automatic weapons. There was some questionable computer hardware that we needed to take with us as well, and what looked like a highly illegal electromagnetic pulse weapon, or at least the starts of one.
Seattle puts his hand up. Is like, it's not a weapon. It's not a weapon. Oh, Seattle would like to defend. It is not a weapon.
Well, there's certainly information to be had, I'm sure. If it keeps us out of jail at the time being, fine.
Excellent. See, I knew we could come to a mutually beneficial arrangement. Jay. Just look at it this way. Look at it as being temporarily, unofficially deputized.
I would prefer to look at it as literally anything other than that.
Well, extortion then. It's all the same. Anyways.
That feels more honest.
Very well. In the interest of honesty, yes, we are extorting you for the greater good. But you get to leave now. Any last questions for me? So that's
Do you know on Earth, they used to put RIP on graves?
sorry, GM question. Put what on graves?
RIP.
Whip?
RIP.
Oh, RIP. Yes, as in rest in peace. Yeah, he nods.
Yeah. They would put RIP on graves. And she just walks out.
Yeah, Radek doesn't get it. Just sort of gives you a quizzical look, like, not sure if that was some sort of threat, or and it sort of shrugs it off.
Well,
And,
we could hire a Rip to kill him.
you could potentially do so. But yeah, you're allowed to go back onto your ship, and the transport disconnects and goes back to the cruisers.
Before that, can Annie ask for more sandwiches, please?
Do you like run in right as Captain's leaving, or do you like knock on the door?
Yeah, I think she would knock on the door before Captain comes out.
Okay, then Radek will follow Captain out and open the door and say, yes, can I help you?
Annie silently holds out the empty teacup.
Ah, thank you, and takes it from you.
Also, could I take more of your sandwiches? They were very good.
Well, since you were nice enough to bring back the teacup, I suppose you can have more sandwiches, yes.
So
And
Annie goes in. Yeah, Annie
Okay.
goes in, and are they on like trays or plates or anything like that?
It's like a fancy serving dish. That's what I was looking for, serving.
Yeah, she
and
takes
yeah, it's
the
like
whole
half
thing.
full with sandwiches.
She takes the whole thing. Just carries it out.
Just sort of sighs. Like,
Teacup in exchange for a serving tray.
Yeah. And she as she's walking by, she slightly lifts the tray as if like a little salute, like, hey, thanks. She keeps walking.
He does takes the hat off and does a full formal bow. Dripping with sarcasm.
As that happens, and she kind of recognizes the ass hattery that he's displaying, she goes, I'll be sure to remember your hospitality, I suppose is the best way to put it.
This is a little bit of me bleeding into the character, but he just gives you a blank stare and goes, "Grand," and shuts the door.
He mutters something under her breath that is not very nice. Something perhaps along the lines of "fucking dick."
But yeah, the cruisers are going to escort you until you leave the system. But you are essentially free to leave and go wherever you want once you're out of the system. What's the scene look like on the ship? What's everybody doing now that it's free of GPF people? And I use that term loosely.
Seattle's doing a full inventory.
Sparky is drowning their panic in the last of the ice cream. Like full panic sweats.
Okay, that's totally fair. I would be doing the same thing. Probably like a hard milkshake, actually. Okay. Once they're all gone, and you're all back in, there's like a metal swinging sound, and Daisy just plops out of a vent. Says, "Okay. Obviously the ship wasn't impounded, so what did I miss?"
Like,
I was gonna say, where does she pop out? Because it would probably depend who answers.
Just like in one of the hallways near where everybody is.
Seattle signs, we're, quotation marks, working for the GPF.
I'm sorry. I thought you said we're working for the GPF.
Quotation marks.
Right. That still makes me want to vomit.
Annie holds out the serving tray of small sandwiches.
Seattle looks
Ooh,
at Captain
sandwiches.
and Seattle looks at Captain and is like, I think we really need to get the new ship now.
Yeah.
Captain just silently turns away and walks to the bridge.
After doing the inventory, Seattle's gonna go and check on his rooster and the various plants and stuff.
Okay.
Make sure they're not trashed too bad.
Daisy sort of sticks close to Annie and grabs a couple more sandwiches off the platter as well. It's like, ooh, Captain's mad, and Captain doesn't really get mad.
Given the circumstances, I'm pretty grateful that is the extent of it, Daisy.
No, me too. I'm just, it's kind of scary.
Annie shoves a small sandwich in her mouth, and around it she's just like, yeah, no, valid.
Into Annie's mouth or Daisy's mouth?
Her own.
Okay.
Just imagine her just shoving it in Daisy's mouth.
Yeah, Daisy just sort of nods. It's like, yeah. So the ship is kind of a mess. They went into the walls.
I know.
And then Daisy gives a little smirk to Seattle and Annie and whoever else is still standing there, if Sparky's still there. Says, but they did take the hard drives I left out for them to find.
Good. How much is it gonna fuck up their shit?
Depending on if their computer they look it up on is networked or not, it's probably gonna make them have to do a full, reinstall the operating system for their ships.
So are the cruisers still running out there?
They are, for now.
I think between bites, Sparky holds up like a weary high, like a hand for a high five to Daisy.
She gives you a high five back. At any rate,
Seattle suddenly looks like he's remembered something horrible.
You okay?
Your father's alive.
Yeah, I'm looking right at you.
No.
She like walks up to Seattle and like pokes at his cheek. Like, yeah,
Not
I'm pretty sure.
me.
What? And the like Windows has encountered an error noise plays from somewhere in the universe.
Seattle's not looking so hot.
Daisy just like holds up a finger. Is like, I'm gonna need a bit. And just like turns around, opens the nearest event cover, and crawls in.
Annie looks down at her tray of sandwiches, and she's like, "More for me, I guess."
I love that. Yep, so Seth and Liam are just cleaning things, putting things back where they go. That's pretty much all they're doing. They didn't get questioned, so they're sort of just like, what happened?
Well,
we work for the GPF now.
We work for the GPF. They knew like a lot. They didn't know anything about me, which is weird because they probably should, but they knew a lot, is what I'm hearing. And now I guess we work for them, sort of.
But like, this is Liam, but like, we're not actually going to work for them, right?
No.
Oh no, we're gonna give them bullshit.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
But they know.
Liam and Seth are just sort of nod and are processing all of this information. I'm assuming you head directly out of the system, yeah?
Yes.
The buoys get turned off as you pass through them, so that it doesn't mess up your ship.
Great.
And then you're free to go. Where do you go from here?
Well, did
Straight
we
into
ever?
the void.
Right. Did we ever make the sales to make a bunch of money?
We did make some from selling the guns and the like. Let me check the ship.
Okay, I
scores.
wasn't sure if we completed those.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah. Just whatever guns
I-
you had left on the ship were confiscated is all.
We sold all of them.
Okay, then.
Yeah. But now that's a question. Did our guns, like our personal guns, get confiscated?
If it was like in your room, no.
Okay.
But anything in the cargo bay did.
Okay. Oh fuck! They took our rocket launcher.
Oh, I'm gonna give you this one since they did take a lot of your stuff.
Yeah.
The rocket launcher was especially well hidden, and they didn't grab it.
Okay.
Good.
I just remembered that. I'm like, we didn't put that anywhere.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that fate smiled on you, and they didn't notice it.
Their mistake.
Did they take my cannons?
Well, I mean, they took your like prototype EMP. I'd assume so.
The scalpel cannon's probably confiscated. Yes.
What about the oomph cannon?
Which one was that one?
That's the sonic cannon. The one that I used to launch corpses.
No, they didn't take that one.
Okay. I'm just imagining the poor worker who had to like identify what the scalpel gun was, or the scalpel cannon was, how not to fire it.
Well, sir, it
Oh,
looks
they-
to be a tube full of scalpels, and there's an explosive at the base of it. No, I'm not sure how to turn it off, sir. Yeah, we could just put it in space. Just jettison it.
It's probably how the conversation went. Yeah. So yeah, what do you do now? Where do you want to go?
We're gonna go get a new ship.
Okay.
Now, this poses, and this is like partially not quite meta, but like out of character. This poses an interesting question because they're tracking us, so they'll know we're ditching the ship.
Unless somebody else takes the ship.
Right, but they would know we would go to like a scrapyard or a like.
Like,
I'm just saying we have to be clever about how we trade ships.
they just left the interrogation room and went to a car lot, and now,
Yeah.
now they're leaving.
Hmm.
Well, maybe we're not getting a new ship.
Unless we make it look like we're getting a new ship, but we're not actually getting the new ship, then we're instead being boarded by someone who is then going to take our ship, and we are going to sneak on their ship and take it. Plausible deniability.
I'm gonna say Seth is there, and is gonna make a suggestion for you. And say, yeah, we
good.
could hire somebody to buy the ship for us, and then steal our ship with that ship.
That is true. Get Lagu on the phone.
Oh no.
Oh, I love that. Crap, Daisy's not there to suggest something, so I do need somebody to make a tech engineering roll.
I got you.
Okay, I was gonna say we're all pretty good at it, so I think Alex might have it with a
okay.
9, no less. God.
I did still need the roll from Annie because you might get more information. Nope. 28. Okay. So the 35. Seattle, you probably know that like if there's a tracking device on the ship, they probably have comms tapped. So you might want to make the call from not the ship.
No, true.
We need to find a payphone.
Or potentially find where the equipment on the ship is another option. Just
What
That's what I was
about our
gonna say, yes.
satellite-esque phones?
Oh
That we
yeah, did
set
they
up.
get the?
oh, you're like implanted comms?
Yeah.
Nope, they're they didn't do anything with those.
Or like the ones
Unless
we
it
have
was in the
specially set
tea.
up
Sorry,
between
go ahead.
Matt's gas and
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that could
Sonia.
potentially work.
Sonia.
Basically, what Seattle knows is that you just don't want to make the call from like the phones, quote unquote, on the ship itself.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't want to make it from the ship itself till I found where the fuck it is and remove it all. Daisy, can you check the computers? I'm going to go and check for physicals.
You get a meme back that's literally the Windows blue screen that says, "I'm sorry, Daisy has run into an unexpected error. She's unavailable right now."
Right. Annie? Annie, are you done with the sandwiches? Are you done
She
with
turns-
the bad? Are you done with the bad man sandwiches?
She turns around and her cheeks are still puffed out.
Alright, when you're done with the sandwiches, could you check through the coding on the computer and see if you can find where exactly it's tapping in and disconnect it? I'll find the physicals.
She's still holding the tray with two hands, so she lifts a knee up so that she's balancing on one leg, balances the tray on her knee long enough to take her hand off, give you a thumbs up, and then take the tray back.
Wouldn't they be able to see that we disconnected it though?
Depends on how you disconnect it.
Could make it like a false positive.
Yeah.
I've seen a spy movie or two.
Loop the closed circuit footage.
That's the one. They'll never see it coming. Keep talking about cheese.
The national treasure.
They've been talking about cheese for months. I don't get it.
So yeah, Annie, go ahead and give me a tech engineering roll for that. When you're done with the sandwiches, you're not able to find it.
Why is this thing always giving me low rolls today? That is not the last 2 or 3s and then 4s and then 1 5. Like,
I've gotten really low rolls this past week too.
Would Annie ask for help?
I mean, yeah, if she doesn't find anything, she'll probably say that, but then mention that, like, if anybody wants to give it a second comb, that would probably be good, just to double check.
Captain could try.
Yeah. Also 28.
Roll 20. I'm gonna need you to just
What
cool
the
it.
hell? Like,
But I mean, 13's above average. That's a better roll.
Sparky can definitely have a look too.
Okay. 33, better. Still haven't found it. Let's.
I was gonna say I
at
would have
this
used my
point,
advantage.
Captain
if
is
it wasn't
going
a
to
17.
go somewhere to get repairs done at the very least.
That is very unsuspicious because your ship is pretty dang banged up.
Yeah.
In the
And what we
transit
do
time-
at said station is our business.
Yes. I'm gonna say during the transit time, Daisy's able to, process and become, functioning again. So I'll see what she's got. 46 plus 8 is
54.
Thank you. She finds the device and where it's connected, and is like, who wants to try to reprogram this? I can try, but like, if I fuck it up, then we're in trouble.
I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It'll probably be fine.
I guess.
What are they gonna do? Tell us that they've kidnapped Tolan and that we need to go get him? Like, what do you mean?
Oh no, you found the
that
tracking
shit
device
again.
that we told you about.
Yeah, like,
It's kind of like having like the ankle tracking device thing, and that they're like, don't tamper with it, and then you take it off, and they're like, oh, well, it's to prison with you.
Well, don't hide it on the ship if you don't want us to go looking for it, Just...
It's out in the open where we know it is. We'll be fine with it.
did you know they talk to you through those things?
Oh,
Oh,
gross.
that's creepy.
Yeah, they talk.
For whatever reason, mine was like, they would just tell you like stupid jokes at the worst time. Like wake you up at 3 a.m. for some stupid joke.
Oh, they'll
Wait,
wake
what?
you up. But
You
like,
hear the
not
mimic
for a
of
joke.
like a rooster at 6 a.m.
Or like random facts at the most inopportune time, like you're trying to go to the bathroom, and it's like, random fact: the toilet was invented in blah blah blah.
Oh my god.
You're like, how the
Unsubscribe.
hell do you know I was on the toilet?
So what you're saying though as a GM is that if we do this, potentially bad.
Yes, potentially bad.
I say we just stick with the original plan. Like I mean that's out of character. I think Sparky would be a little more effusive about it, but
You know where it is now, so you can literally try it anytime.
Mhm.
So it doesn't have to be right this second.
maybe let's not push our luck that we don't have.
All right. Let me put it this way. Also, I just need to look at something real quick. If Captain used that crit, it still wouldn't be high enough.
Good to know.
Good to know. Let's just leave the box alone.
Like, let's see. It's possible for Daisy to do it.
That's
with the stats I have.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's
That's
possible,
mad
but
uncomfortable. No thanks.
unlikely. Yeah. And then I didn't look at Annie's character sheet, but I'm pretty sure Annie would also be like possible, but not like a for sure thing. Okay, so where are you heading again? To a repair station?
Yeah.
Nondescript repair station 3.
Ah, okay. Nondescript repair station 3, with your ship in its current condition, will take you about a day and a half to get there. You're not far from a major shipping lane, so there's a lot of them around. But you are going slower because badly damaged ship.
Yes.
And is there anything you want to do on the way, or anything else that you want to do while the ship's being fixed?
I think Sparky would check up on Captain, because obviously she did seem to be in some kind of distress or emotion filledness, so that's concerning. So he, as one does when there's concerning things, you go and poke it. So Sparky would come in and just ask Captain how she's doing.
Captain would be sitting very still.
You okay, Cap?
I was just extorted.
Yep.
Again.
Yep. Sparky's gonna come in and sit not like next to Captain, but kind of like on the floor, a meter or two away, and just kind of look up at her. We didn't really have a choice. Doesn't make it any better, but it's not like we got to choose it.
Would it have been more integral of me to place us all in jail?
You did the best thing you could have done in your situation. If we all went to jail, then probably all the people we've helped would go to jail. Or worse. As much as it sucks, Captain, I think you made the right call. There's something Rip used to tell me. He said sometimes when you're playing cards and you don't have anything, your best move is just to fold. Because you can win the next round.
Poker analogy.
Probably, yeah. He did seem like a ladies' man.
What?
What I mean, Cap, is like we're still alive, right? Like we're still flying, sorta. We still have money. You know, we're not chained. We don't have to wear jack boots. We'll get out of this.
But as you said, they know everything. That means even if we feed them false information, they will know. Are we just prolonging the inevitable?
Maybe. But I'd rather prolong the inevitable than jump headfirst into a cell. I'd rather try.
That is fair.
That said, we are kind of in the shit. It's I don't really know how we're gonna get out of this, but we seem to be pretty good at getting out of it.
I do not know what lies were told by the crewmates.
Yeah, I lied a lot. Like the whole time.
Of course you did.
Yeah. To be fair, they thought I was dead.
That is reasonable. They did not even look me up.
Really?
I was not scanned.
Was anyone else scanned? I didn't really take time to ask.
Everyone was scanned besides, from what I saw, Seattle, but they seemed to have information on him anyway. Which
Well,
in
they
terms
know-
of
Go ahead.
which in terms of me means they know everything about me or they know absolutely nothing about me.
They could have been lying too. They might have known a bunch about me. All they know is the past, though. So as long as we feed them new stuff, they won't necessarily know if it's a lie, right?
That is true. They have no way of knowing.
We let a cat on this ship. Is that the tracker?
Hi, River. I think that's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's River. Sorry.
That's okay. Sparky will stand up and just kind of like they'll move a little closer, but they obviously won't go in for a hug. They know not to do that. They'll lean kind of on one of the consoles, and just give Cap like a really genuine smile. Chin up, Captain. We're not licked yet.
They're going to lick us?
I don't know. I heard it in a movie once, and it sounded neat. I don't know what it means though. Like, I
That's
guess licking was a bad
horrifying.
thing.
That's horrifying. I do not wish to be licked.
No, forget it. I said it. And then Sparky will just kind of like awkwardly leave the bridge.
One last question for you, Sparky.
Yeah, Cap?
Tolan got himself captured, correct? And then let go.
Uh-huh.
Is Tolan what we would call a little bitch?
I don't know about the little part, but probably.
Understood.
I mean, he's the kind of cat who would just go to anyone's house, if you catch me.
Understood.
And Sparky's like stifling a giggle as they're leaving
Call
the bridge.
Tolan a hoe.
We have called him way worse things over the phone.
They are responsible for his stomach ulcers.
Well, bloody well should be.
Alright. Is there anything that Seattle or Annie would like to do before we wrap up?
Not particularly. She's content eating her sandwiches.
Seattle would eventually go to find Daisy because we got some weird shit we gotta figure out now. Like how badly Seattle's gonna beat up her other father when he finds out that he finds him.
Yeah.
We could also just permadead him.
No, because he is Daisy's other father. And
I don't think
try.
Daisy's gonna have a problem with it.
Daisy has a mom now.
Yeah.
Daisy has a very protective mom now.
Mom's gonna kill dad number 2.
Yeah.
I take it the captain has forgiven Daisy.
Well, she's not happy now because Daisy didn't show up when she called her.
Daisy was like, I gotta hide so that when the ship gets impounded, I can break it out of there. Oh god. So it's you wanting to have the conversation between Seattle and Daisy now or next week?
Next week, please. My
Next
brain
week's-
is a little bit too down,
Alright.
but it's something I would like to put on the docket for next week.
I same. I would much rather do that next week. I need to go, like I said at break, I need to go take another shower after playing Radek for so long. He's such a gross character. Oh.
You know what
Well-
we need to do? We need to go and kidnap Daisy's girlfriend and recruit her.
Yeah, I don't think that would take much
Yeah,
convincing.
let's give them more reason to hate us. Great.
Well, no, he can't shoot at our ship because then he might kill his daughter.
He's a cop.
You think he cares?
This is a reminder. Take meds.
This is a reminder. A cab.
Yep.
Yep. It's true. Though, you know, stuff like that has been known to shake some things up in people.
That's very true.
So maybe you could, turn Radek to the light side of the Force, if you will.
The socialist side of the Force.
Yes, yes.
You extorted our crew, so we kidnapped your daughter.
And we made her a socialist.
Convert now or forever hold your capitalism.
Yep. It's
God,
like those
his
propaganda
reaction
books,
when he's like, why do you like going there? Because it's small, locally owned businesses that don't get fucked over by the big corporations. He was just like, oh. I mean, that sounds like I could see like the thought process of it. Like, that sounds reasonable. But I don't know how much of a dissident you are, or if you just like co-ops. I can't tell.
You'll
I can't
never
tell if you're
know.
violent or if you just like co-ops.
Yeah.
Because he has his own cheese cooler, and he's the sort of guy who would support a co-op.
That's very true. All right. Well, I think that's a good spot to wrap it up for now. Congratulations, you survived the trap, and you've got a plan to get yourself out of the situation that came up because of it. So,
Yay.
good job.
Thanks. I hate it here.
Sorry. Before we go on a raid, though, we're gonna let everybody say what their favorite part was, where we can find them next, and anything they want to share or plug, and then we'll go on a raid. If anybody has a raid cry that you'd like, go ahead and throw that into chat, and we'll go reverse order from start. So, Goody, what was your favorite part? And then anything you want to share or plug.
My favorite part was probably the exchange between the quote-unquote lawyer and the cop.
That's great.
That was all kinds of fun. Just because even if they did know, I really don't think they would know, because I don't think Braddock would have the beans to play around that much with them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he'd be like, "Oh, cut the shit, blah, blah, blah." But like, no, I genuinely believe that they don't know who Sparky is, and they're just like, "Oh, well, I guess we'll deal with this person." And I like that. I like that. But yeah, I will be here next week, like I always am.
Awesome. One thing I forgot to mention, they did question the doctor as well. That conversation did happen. So yeah, they questioned the doctor as well.
Concern.
It's fine. All right.
How are the doctor's bowels?
Seemed fine. Very regular.
Okay, I don't trust it.
Yeah, the doctor didn't really talk much. They went right back to the infirmary. Alex, what was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Cheese cooler.
Yeah.
That was my favorite fucking scene. Because I didn't realize that was the perfect voice for this fucking cheese cooler. That is my son. My baby boy. My baby boy full of cheese.
What have I done?
You can find me around, you can find me next week on Nerds with Dice on Friday evening, for our, the start of Warehouse 15, and then back here on Saturday.
Awesome. All right. V, same questions.
Just the sheer amount of bullshitting that we all collectively did with no previous instruction from one another. Everybody just went in full tilt. We're all lying now. Yeah, the attempted taunt for Annie of, maybe we'll just ask Liam questions. She's like, well, perhaps you shall. I don't know. Plausible
it's
thing.
whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's a child we picked up. I don't know what to tell you.
A vagabond, I tell you, I don't know him.
That is our resident misfit, like our resident orphan. He just lives here. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, the cheese cooler was priceless. I feel like we should give the cooler like a voice modulator, and allow them to pick out whatever voices. I will constantly have Annie go and set the setting to Kermit the Frog, though, if we do that. So, Jay, just be prepared for that if Annie has her way, you will be doing a Kermit the the frog voice quite frequently. So heads up.
Only if you promise.
Okay, now please threaten to murder somebody in that voice.
You talk to Miss Piggy like that again, I'll bury you 5 fucking feet under. Anyway.
Yeah, so
Oh my god.
I now know what I'm going to be using all 100,000 of my guild coins for. Thank you. As for myself, you can find me. Today is Saturday, so I will be here on Wednesday for more Exodus. And then Thursday we have a Star Wars game. And then, of course, back here on Saturday for more Animus. You can also find me on Twitter. I have an art Twitter. So if you'd like to check out my stuff there, it's at Pepero Draws. That's Pepero like the candy. It's right there below my name card. I post original characters, some anime stuff sometimes if you like My Hero Academia or stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen or any of that stuff. That's all posted there. So if you're interested, take a look. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And then last but not least, Jay, favorite part, where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Oh god. Honestly, I would have to say, weird as it is, because I loved all the other bits, but I loved the sheer panic of us trying to hide all the contraband before the cops showed up. Like, I just loved the idea, this mental image of watching the whole crew. I mean, aside from Captain, because Captain's like, well, I don't have any contraband, I got plants. But watching, like, most of the crew just go, like, full tilt Mom's Home in 5 was stupendous. It's rare we get to see the whole crew in a tizzy like that, so that was really good. But honestly, the whole thing was great. I loved getting to put on a persona that wasn't just I'm panicked all the time and bullshit. And I'm way more of a bitch when I do that, so who knew? So that was nice. Yeah, this was a great session. This is not at all the trap I was expecting, and we came out of it alive, so there's that. Where you can find me next will be on Tuesday for Standing Stones, 6 Mountain Time. And that one, we have actually, I don't think we've gotten out of town, but we're pretty near there. We've got our resident, let's say, moral compass of the group now, and we have kind of sorted everything out. We're all pretty fed up with the town, so we're all pretty keen to get out of there. So that's going to be a romp.
Yeah, so you're just definitely like the linchpin holding this group together. It's great. I'm very much looking forward to that. Awesome. My favorite part, I really enjoyed watching you all decide how you were going to deal with this. Honestly, just going along with it, like surrendering and being questioned was like the lowest on my probability list of how this was going to go.
It's exactly like what happened with the Polite Mafia. You expected us to fight, and instead we were like, okay, no, we'll answer your questions.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I expected you to run. I was like, oh, they're probably going to run away for sure. So it was a nice surprise for me. And then, yeah, bringing Radic in and getting to show off that character a little bit more, which, oh my god, he's a bastard. I hate that character so much. But he's a good character story-wise. And again, yeah, I feel like I need to take a shower. But I loved listening to all of the comments and the banter and the fuck you attitude from everybody. Tyrannic, just having to play the character, but internally I'm like, fuck yeah. You tell him.
I also rather enjoyed taking advantage of the refreshments.
Yes. Going back for the sandwiches was just chef's kiss. Loved that. Yeah, the panicking beforehand. Internally, just Benny Hill theme song was playing in my head, watching you all scramble. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing, and it was interesting seeing your reactions to it. What's really like your first real encounter with the GPF, which is incredible considering we're 45 episodes in and you've been committing crime a lot.
No, this is our second memorable encounter. With the
What
GPS.
was the first one?
And we got our fine, and the
Nice.
doctor shot us out of it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then
I
they're
forgot
like,
about that.
we need to pay our fine. And Captain was like, no,
Honey, we're
We
criminals.
like, we're leaving.
That was a great moment. Oh, but yeah, lots of favorite moments. And of course, the when do you want me to release the chicken? Where you can find me next will be Tuesday as well. I play Cauliflower or Callie in Standing Stones, and she's your typical like shonen anime protagonist. Loves to fight, has a tail, is not very bright, but she's really sweet in her own way. Just wants to protect her friends and get out of the town of ridiculous adults. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that on Tuesday, and that'll be Tuesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Other stuff to share or plug is sponsors, which is actually already in chat. So the system we used for this game tonight, it's Fundamental RPG. It's also what we use for Standing Stones, Black Feather Paranormal Investigations, and Welcome in Madison. So you can run a lot of different shows, or different games rather, on the system. It's not tied to a particular genre or world, so it's very versatile. You can tell whatever story you want with it. You can pick up your physical copy on Amazon, or if you want the digital version, go to coffee.com/raven/shop, just like it says in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Just add /shop to the end. And then at that same site, you can find Intrepid products, which is adventuring gear for real life, drinkware, apparel, accessories, a whole bunch of stuff with tabletop or adventure theme, including a couple of Pride items. I'm still wanting to get more into the shop before the end of the month as well. But there's some cool stuff. Definitely check that out. And then finally, Die Hard Dice, which I was using for Radek and other people's roles for this evening. Die Hard sent me this really awesome metal Spellbinder Fey Queen set, and it is my absolute favorite out of all my dice, and that's saying something. You can pick up your own set of these really, really great dice at dieharddice.com. And if you use the code BlackFeatherJune, all one word, capital B and capital J, you can get 10% off your whole order. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show or any others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. And with that, we're going to go on a raid. Our raid cry is, when do you want me to release the chicken? Feel free to copy that right out of chat. And let me just make sure they're still live. Yep, we're going to go raid Polished Cryptid, who's doing a D&D one-shot called Abby's Lament. There's some very familiar faces in the cast over there as well. So go follow everybody, say hi, and throw the raid cry out there. And then I will see you all on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.